Hello, stampers! I've got one of those nature scenes for you today, and I hope you grab your stamps and stamp along. Today I'm using the Forever Forest stamp set. Has all these great pine trees, and you know I love a tree, so and this set's got them all. It's got larger ones, medium ones, and then these smaller ones. It also has snowflakes. You know, there's some ground here. Look at this moon and stars. So we're going to be using this stamp set, and this is new to Stampin' Up. It's in their September-December 2023 mini catalog. And we're also going to be using the wonderful dies. These are the Countryside Corners dies. And let me show you this die set before we get going. It's lovely. It's got all these great layering pieces to it. And I just love this look because it's so simple to get just that extra panel shape in there. So we'll be using those. And then our sentiment is coming from the Go-To Greeting stamp set. Now this is my go-to set for sure, so it's named appropriately for me. And we're using Happy Birthday out of this, but you can use any sentiment out of any stamp set you have, but this is a wonderful one to pick up. So we're going to get going on our main panel here, and I'm going to show you how to do the reflection of these mountains. And I'm just using a basic white panel that was cut with the second to the largest Countryside Corner dies. So I just took that die and ran it through with basic white, and I also did, while I'm at it, the largest one from the Countryside Corners dies out of basic black. I'll just set that aside for now. We'll work on our main panel here. Now we're going to just take some Balmy Blue ink here. I just want to put some tone in this background all over. So I'm just gonna take a blending brush and just go back and forth and just add some of that Balmy Blue here all over this panel. I'm using a back and forth motion just in case you get some streaks and then they're going the right direction for your water, right? So if you want any streaks, you want them to go back and forth. Okay, so there is our background there. And then we're going to take a couple of Post-it notes here. Now I have 3 by 5. And that's what you'll want for this project. I'm taking 2 Post-it notes. I'm going to separate them and I'm going to stick them back together, only I want the sticky side to be facing the sticky side up here. So here's the sticky side on this side, and then I have the sticky side on this side here. We're going to put them together because we're going to rip our Post-it note to create our mountain shape here. So I have my 2 Post-it notes stuck together, sticky sides facing each other. And then I'm going to just start here and I'm going to just rip a small like mountain shape. You could do these rounded, you can do them pointed. I got a little piece there I didn't want. There we go. And then I'm going to rip a second one. I'm going to do this one higher than the first. There we go. And I'm just going to clean this up a little bit there. There we go. So I have 2 mountain shapes in there, and that's what I want. Now we're going to take these apart, and we take them apart and we put the sticky side down. That means they will be mirror images of each other because we took them and we stuck them together. See how that's mirror shape there? And I think I want them to go off each side there. There we go. Then I'm going to take that Balmy Blue that we had out, and I'm going to take a blending brush. I'm just going to hold these down as I work on them. That way my cardstock doesn't shift underneath. And I would advise you to do that too. And you're going to work so that you're pressing down on those papers as you're making your mountain shapes in here. So this is Balmy Blue again, and when you layer it on, I'm going to peek underneath. You see how it shows up there. So that is that side, and then I want to have just the reflection in the water be Balmy Blue. So I'm going to take this off, this bottom one, and I'm going to put a straight edge across, because I want my upper mountain shapes to be darker in color. So I'm going to split these in half, these shapes on the paper. There we go. And I'm going to bring in Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to make these upper mountain shapes a little darker so that these are our original mountains, and the ones below are ones that are reflected in the water. And so when you do that, you want your upper mountains to be darker than the reflection. Okay, and then when you remove these Post-it notes, there's your shapes in the water, and you have your reflective side and you have your regular side there. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp, I think, our moon and stars next. I'm going to bring in a Balmy Blue. And here's our moon and star stamps here, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the moon, I think, and stars up here. Just right kind of in between those. There we go. And then you can angle this to add more stars and not put the moon on. Okay, so there's our moon and stars. So easy. And we're going to go to Memento Tuxedo Black next. And I have this one medium-sized tree here that we're going to use out of that Forever Forest stamp set. I just want to make sure I get my stamp all good and inked up here. I'm even going to try it once to make sure it inks how I wanted it to. Okay, so I'm going to add this tree over here on the right. Now you can stamp these anywhere, really. So there's one. And then I'm going to stamp one lower. And I'm even going to kind of overlap just a little bit, I think. There we go. So we got our couple trees in there. So now I think I just want my sentiment in here. And it says happy birthday. And again, this comes out of the Go-To Greeting stamp set. And I'm just going to add this to the bottom here. There we go. So there's all our stamping done. And I think I want just a little bit of shine in our water, like this. There's like a little glisten. So I'm going to bring out the Bleed Proof White from Dr. P.H. Martin's. This is watercolor, and I use that instead of white gel pen, but you can break out your white gel pen and follow along just as easily. I just have a number 0 sized paintbrush here, and I'm going to dip it in and then wipe it off on the edge. So I'm just dipping it in and then wipe it off on the edge, just so I don't get big globs here. And I'm holding this pretty much upright, and I'm just going to add some little faint lines here going back and forth in that top of that water where the mountains are. Just make sure you don't go on to your original mountains. So easy. And what I like about this Dr. Phil Martins, Dr. P.H. Martins, I keep on calling it Phil, Dr. P.H. Martins, is that it will stay white on my panel and it won't take on the color that's underneath. That's why it's called bleed proof. Whereas your white gel pen will take on that blue that's underneath it, and it won't be pure white. So there is our little white lines on there just to give it more of a water look. And there we have our panel all finished. This is a pretty quick card. So I'm going to take this black panel here and I'm going to add some ribbon to it. So I have this Night of Navy ribbon. It's called Bordered Ribbon. And I'm just going to cut a piece that's a little longer than our panel is wide. I'm going to put it right in the middle here. And I'm going to flip it over. And I'm just going to tack the ends down with some mini glue dots. Here's one. Just make sure you press those ends of that ribbon into that dot pretty good. There we go. You turn it over and there you have it. So I want to go ahead and put a bow in here before we put our other panel on. I'm just taking another length of this ribbon. I'm going to slide it underneath. And I want it way over to the left side of this. And I'm facing it this way like I'd be tying my shoes. That way the legs of the bow will be facing outward and not into my scene. And before I'm going to make sure the legs are facing the right way before I tighten this up. And then I'm just going to play with it for a minute until I have it the way I want it there. And then I've got it all the way over as far as it'll go. Trim those little legs up. I think my ribbon scissors need sharpened. There we have it. And now I'm just going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on this piece here, our main panel. And when I put them on, I want to make sure that I'm leaving the center open with no dimensionals on it. That's where that ribbon's going to be underneath, and then we won't have all that bulk underneath that Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just going to take these backs off here. There we go. Then I'm going to butt this up next to that and there we go. There we have our main panel. It's all done. It's nice and popped up so you have some depth there. But isn't that cute? And it didn't really take a whole lot of time. You have this great reflection in the water. These are kind of rounded, more rounded, and this is more pointy on the original, as you can see. So any size shape mountain or whatever will work for this. Nobody knows any difference. Nobody sees the original. So no two of mine ever look alike because, you know, you are ripping a piece of paper, so you can't never do it exact every time. So I'm bringing in my other pieces here, and I have a basic black panel here, and this is 4 inches by 3 inches. And I'm going to attach it to a Balmy Blue panel that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And as you see, it barely fits on there, and it just has a little bit of that blue showing when you put it on. I'm using multi-purpose glue, but you use whatever glue you like. Add that to the front. Then this is going to go on the front of our card. Now all the dimensions for this card are down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them along with all the product links that'll take you directly to my online store where you can shop with me 24/7. So I put this on a basic black card base that is 5.5 by 8.5, and then I folded it in half to create my quarter card here. And I got those 2 panels on the front. And then I'm just going to adhere this to the front of the card also. Got a little love in there. And we're going to put this on here. Just center it up. And you can go a little bit towards the right with this because you want some room for that bow to be there. Okay, I think that's it. Give it a press, and that's the front of our card all finished. And then the inside of our card, I just added a Balmy Blue panel that's 3 3/4 by 5. And there you have today's project. I hope you enjoyed it and that you give it a try. Thanks for joining me today. Take care. Toodles.